This is the best of the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball and Mark.
Pop Evil!
Hey.
Woo! I picked them up on the side of the road, quite literally.
Very nice to the rescue there.
Yeah, no problem. Welcome to Kalamazoo. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to be in here.
Tour underway. You guys had your first show of the tour last night in Chicago. How'd it go?
Yeah, day one. It was an adventure. You know, you always have those, first gig, bugs that get worked out. But
No doubt.
Right.
Also, like normally, we don't normally have 8 months off.
True.
Right.
So for whatever reason, we ended up with 8 months. So to be back on stage last night was victorious. It felt
and
great.
it ended up being a killer show, so it was fun.
Very nice. Now you mentioned, not being together for 8 months. It's been kind of a weird anything for any music artist for the last couple of years. You guys did some performances last year. You were supposed to go out on tour earlier this year, but things got derailed again because of the pandemic. So, what have you guys been doing kind of in these long off time periods?
Just finding other things to do, other things to stay busy. You got, other ways to make money too. We're not on the road. We're really not, making any income. So
hard to sell tour merch when you're not on tour, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, I'm quite lucky. I live in London, so there's loads of musicians. So it's and when they realise that I'm in town, they're like, "Hey, Hayley, can you cover this gig for me?" So I could still play, but obviously I miss playing with the boys.
Sure, absolutely. So now you've got a little bit of a tour last year under your belt. You're back out on the road now. How's it feel to be back on the road after 2 years off, basically? Yeah,
it's good. We went out last year. Ended up being a pretty long tour, and it got shut down in the middle because Lee actually, our singer, actually caught COVID, and so we had to shut the whole thing down for a while, make sure everyone else didn't catch it, and make sure he was tested negative, and then we went back at it. So it's just weird, kind of working around that kind of thing. But it was ended up being 4 months long, I think, and then another 8 months off before we're doing this now.
Right.
So it's just like
God. It's a drag. Now I know he's from Muskegon, and like you said, you're from London, or where part?
I'm from Brighton.
Brighton, okay.
But actually, a little town called Lansing.
Oh, okay.
Lansing. So Lansing.
Okay.
So the sort of south coast of England.
So you're playing Lansing on this tour, right? Is that right?
No, I think we're playing Bay City.
Bay City, that's what it was. Okay, I knew you were playing another Michigan city, but I
right in
couldn't remember where.
Here.
Yeah,
area.
We're in the mitten. Yeah. But yeah, Nick, you said you're kind of from all over. Mm-hmm. You have a house in Battle Creek, though, right?
Yep. Yeah, just been living in Battle Creek now, I guess, for about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I just bought a house right before the pandemic, so it was perfect timing. So I didn't have to be stuck in an apartment.
Yeah, no joke. Good part of the country to be stuck in too. It's really nice here.
Yeah.
I'm finding out myself actually because I just moved here a couple months ago, like we were talking about. And let me tell you, I'll take 90-degree heat over the 110s and 12s that are in the south and southwest right now, man.
Yeah, you get through the winter months and it turns out okay.
Now, have you had time? This is a Michigan-based band. Obviously both of you not originally from Michigan, but have you been able to, with you in Battle Creek, have you been able to go to the guitar? The classic,
the Heritage,
the Heritage guitar. Company here in town?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I've been meaning to for a long time.
Yeah.
Just never made my way over there. Even because I've been I went to college up in Big Rapids.
Oh, okay.
At Ferris State. So even from then, I was hearing about, Heritage guitars. And still to this point, I just have not made my way.
It literally took me 2 years, and I was like, the Gibson factory is literally downtown, and I've never seen it. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm just going there right now and checking this out. And it's like literally a 5-minute drive. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's cool to see the stack still there, too. Like, you walk up on it, and you're just like, that's where some of the most legendary Gibson guitars were made. Like, we were just talking to Richie Furet from Buffalo Springfield, and he's like, I got a couple of Gibsons that were probably made in that factory, Wow. Like, it's pretty crazy. So you're gonna have to take the whole band, take Hayley with you to go down there and check out the factory down there and see that stuff. Now, you guys still relatively kind of early in the progression of this band, and now you guys are playing main stages at festivals and headlining your tours and stuff. What's it like to go through the growth of a band like that?
You can't really compare it to anything, just going through it. You dream about it, your whole life, someday I'm going to be in a band and be playing on stage. And then, usually that's kind of where it sits. But then, watching it progress and get bigger and bigger and bigger, it's extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
Very humbling. And it's an adventure. It's fun.
Yeah. But I think, as we've found out in the last couple of years, you know, nothing is guaranteed.
Sure, absolutely.
Everything means everything.
Yeah.
So every time someone turns up at a show, every time somebody wants to interview us on the radio, you know, it means everything to us. And yeah, I think I feel really different this particular tour. It's yeah. Next month is not guaranteed. When we finish this tour and I go home, like, I really hope I get to go back. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be sitting comfy for quite some time.
Well, and you've had to deal too, if you've been traveling back and forth between, you know, England and here too, you've been having to deal with some of those issues of traveling with different regulations in different countries too.
And I'm calling it the dregs of the pandemic, because it's like,
oh man,
you know, it's like you think everything's fine, but then, you know, there's still COVID around, so there's a backlog at the embassy. You know, there's no train drivers, there's no bus drivers, there's, you know, stuff is still going wrong. You know, we couldn't get an Uber today. So you had to come and pick us up. You know, so yeah, you know, nothing is guaranteed.
Oh man,
we're hanging out in the studio right now with Hayley and Nick from Pop Evil, and you know, talking about that progression as a band too. I think this is going to be the third time I've seen you, and I think this is a different. I've seen a different lineup every single time, because I believe the first time I caught you at Pine Knob, back when it was like DTE. And then the second time I caught you guys, I actually got the full set, was with Judas Priest in 2015 at Freedom Hill. I mean, that must have been just a huge thrill.
Oh, man, it was awesome. You know, I mean, Rob Halford is absolutely one of the nicest dudes in the business. And,
easily.
I mean, you know, someone, you know, in a band of that size, you know, you don't expect them to come and, you know, check out the openers or whatever. And he was standing side stage the whole time. It was really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Was it ominous seeing Rob Halford in all that black leather and stuff, standing side stage, just staring you down?
I did not make a single mistake that day.
I was going to say, there had been zero pressure whatsoever.
Haley didn't drop a single drumstick. Nothing crazy happened. It was all good. You know, through this pandemic, you know, you guys did put out an album. You put out Versatile. And now that was something you planned on putting out in 2020, and it kind of got delayed, right?
Yep, yeah. Just kind of, you know, decided to hold off on it. You know, it doesn't really make sense to release an album when we're not able to tour on it, you know. So just ended up, you know, pushing it off a little bit until we were finally able to see things starting to kind of go the right way, and then, you know, lift the cover off.
Now, you did release a few singles, though, during 2020, which is interesting that you did that, because it seems to be the trend now, too, that artists are releasing non-album singles even, which you guys have just done. We'll talk about that track in a second. But it's interesting to see now how that's changing the music industry, too. And I'm curious what you guys think about this process as opposed to like one song, album, tour on it, you know?
Yeah, it's different. You know, you look at, you know, the way the industry's going, like there's so much behind the streaming stuff now.
Sure.
It's like, and when people are streaming, they're just picking and choosing songs anyways.
Right.
It's like, if, you know, you really don't have to do a whole album anymore. You can push a couple songs here and there. I mean, but we are still doing albums. Not saying we're not going to do that. But yeah, it's I think we're, you know, aiming at some point next year for the release of the next one. So
very cool. Now, that track we were talking about, Eye of the Storm, I actually want to play just a little bit of it, because, you know, we are a classic rock station, but we do want to promote, you know, you guys in the show tonight. So we're just going to play a little bit of that. Hang tight for a second.
Hard.
So that's Eye of the Storm. That's the new single. It's been out a couple months now. The rumor I heard on this song was you guys were ready to release another song off of Versatile, and then you were like, no, we want to put out a new song.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like kind of again, you know, nothing's guaranteed. We could have put out one more single from Versatile, but, you know, we had the new music that we're working on already, and all the excitement is already there for that stuff. We're just like, you know what, let's just get there.
Go.
Yeah, let's just drop Versatile and let's get back in. Let's get in the new stuff. You know?
Love it.
It definitely fits, you know, the progression, obviously, with this band. You know, Versatile was, I honestly think, a huge step up for Pop Evil. It was such a huge boost in sound, I think, for the band. And then this just complements it so well, I think, you know, through the progression of this band. You know, how does Pop Evil write? Because you guys are very, very varied in your subgenres of rock and roll, but you still manage to stay relevant. You still manage to have that Pop Evil sound. Like, tell me about that.
I mean, that's kind of why, because the writing comes from all over the place. So there's, I mean, you know, all different influences coming in. It's like you can pick and, you know, and pigeonhole yourself in one sound, but that's boring.
Right.
So we like to, adventure a little bit. I keep using that word, but it really is. I mean, you
don't cook the same recipe every night. You want to eat different things and different spices and stuff, and that's kind of how the songs come out.
Yeah.
I think you pigeonhole yourself when you do that. When you're like, I only listen to this, and it's just like you get very stubborn, and it just turns you into an elitist, which you see in a lot of fans who are just like, that's not this and that's not that. It's like, well, guess what? Newsflash: music is subjective. Hello.
Yeah. So
thanks for having that rant for me. I was going to go.
I mean, if you want to have it too, you know.
I got your back. No, because I don't want any hate on social media. Thanks for doing that for me.
It's all been deflected over to Mark. He gets all the heat this morning.
I'll take it.
This is going to be my first show in Michigan since I moved up here. I'm super stoked to see a Michigan band to kick things off for me.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be an outdoor show.
It's going to be loud. It's outdoors. Yes.
I feel like, we just came out of my first day 2 months ago. It snowed. We were up here and it was just like, it's April. It's the end of April, early May. Why is it still snowing? Oh, I'm in Michigan.
I was just about to say, the last outdoor show we played in Grand Rapids was the ball drop. That was freezing.
My gosh, yes. That's freezing. Right. New Year's Eve.
Who concocted that?
It was snowing. It was like negative 15 degrees when we went on.
My gosh.
It was awful.
How do you play drums with like 12 of those big puffy coats on? Is that how do you do that?
I had a little heated vest on.
Playing with icicles.
Rock and roll there, but
oh yeah, I'm wearing a jacket. I got hand warmers in the pockets.
Yeah, no joke.
It was the guitars really that I felt for, because you've got to feel like the
tuning.
tips of your fingers. At least I can kind of be a bit like a brute and just hit things. It's like you can do that even when you're cold.
Yeah.
But like
when you can't feel the strings, it makes it a little bit difficult to play.
Well, it's really hard to look like a rock star too when you have icicles dripping out of your nose too.
Really great to be here.
This one's called Footsteps. Well, before we let you go, Hayley, we need to say congratulations to you. You just got married
in
the past week. Congratulations. The wife is back across the sea.
In Europe,
right?
Yep. She's out on tour as well. She's in Vienna tonight, so that's kind of cool.
But we want to offer our congratulations to you for that.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Great things happening for Pop Evil. The one thing I did want to ask before we let you go, we are a classic rock station, and classic rock is now kind of rolling up into the 90s. Who were some of your influences as far as classic artists go growing up and kind of leaning into music?
I guess classic, I'm looking, usually 70s, 80s, 90s right now. Pantera, Metallica, Soundgarden, Nirvana.
Right.
Deep Purple, Zeppelin, obviously. It's definitely there.
Kind of going back to those influences from all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Hayley, what about you?
I grew up with listening to The Police, so Stuart Copeland.
Nice.
No doubt.
All the little hi-hat stuff.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, I still go back to Phil Collins. Sorry.
Oh, no. We play Phil Collins. We love Phil Collins here.
In fact, he teeters on heavy metal from time to time.
He does in this studio, that's for sure.
It also kind of, you were saying Soundgarden, Audio Slave, Rage Against the Machine. That was the big ones.
Well, I'll tell you what, for Hayley, we're gonna go out of this interview playing some Cochise.
Yes.
Some Audio Slave for you. So, all right, Pop Evil in the studio show tonight, 6:45 at the intersection.
Come through.
Cochise right now. Thank you guys so much for stopping by.
Yep, thank you.
We've taken up all our time for the Rocker Morning Show, so
we out.
Bye.
Live weekday mornings from 6 to 10 and on demand in the Rocker app. It's the best of the Rocker Morning Show on 107.7 RKR.